Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, April 11th. Wow. In this episode, Spurs have the best week ever. United have the same week they've had all season long. They're terrible. Burnley go bust. But first, Mike, what's your take on my team's big game? 2-2 Liverpool City.
Breathless. I had the misfortune of missing most of it live and watched the first half on an airplane.
Only the good half.
And then I lost service. Yeah. I think we know who the champions should be after that game. Yeah, and I know that it's a draw. And I know that, but put it this way, Liverpool, you were, what was it? 16 points out, 12 points out, whatever it was. You were.
It was 14, but they had 2 games in hand, so
right,
they were like 8.
Thank you. So they were 8 points out. So realistically, let's call it
That's
8.
Good.
You were 8 points out.
Back. That's huge.
So 3+ games, right?
That's massive.
They came back there within a point, and they're still very much alive. And we can talk about the run in a few minutes, but I think this was their opportunity to go into the Etihad to stake their claim in the biggest game in the last 5 years, easily, probably.
Well, the John Stones off the line game.
Yeah, but that was in January.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
the later
John
Champions
Stones
League
game.
rounds, those were. But
yes,
I guess
okay, but in the Premier League,
City licked pretty quickly.
In the Premier League, this is the biggest game that was played easily in the last 5, maybe 10 years.
This late in the season, yes.
You know, going into the game, I should say.
Yes.
Because the Gerrard slip comes to mind. The Battle of the Bridge comes to mind. Yeah. A couple other ones. But at the same time, that wasn't hyped up for months, plural, in advance, saying this is the Super Bowl. So they had their opportunity. And it's not as if they were, they should have won the game. You know, Man City were not flattered by a draw. And I think that this kind of showed who Liverpool are. They are an excellent club. They are just not the best team.
Great teams.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
But they are not better than Manchester City this season.
Nope.
Will they end up champions? Yeah,
they
maybe.
Could.
Very possibly.
Yeah.
But I think that, and I've sort of thought this for a while, and it's because we listen to narratives, right? Liverpool win 5-0, and it's dashing and amazing. And look at Jota, and look at how Diaz is betting in with the new guys. And City win 5-0, and ho-hum. Yeah, Phil Foden's got a boring haircut.
Yeah, it's always we're expected to do it. I think in some sense, what I've felt about Liverpool is this is not a slight. Like these two teams, first things first, these two teams are incredible.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's this weird narrative that they leave out the Centurion season. But aside from the Centurion season, where City scored 100 points and won the league by 25, and Liverpool did not, weren't in the race yet. They weren't quite there yet. But it was the back half when they went to the Champions League final, but did not win the league. They had 85 points or something, 80. These two teams are literally 1 point apart over the last 4 seasons. That, first of all, is incredible on an average of about 90, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very, very close. And right now, their XG is 0.10, is not one goal, but per 90, the XG is 4 goals apart, basically, at this point. But the thing that's different is Liverpool ride their luck a little bit more. And one of them is Alisson, right? So their goals against versus their XG against, it's 30 versus 22. So that when you're watching a game, you're like, damn, those motherfuckers should have scored. And then on the other side, they've scored 4 more than you would expect them to. It's at 75. They have the best in the league. While City's, on the other hand, is almost exactly the same. They're 22 XG on 20 goals against and 72 goals for on 70 goals against. So the perception of Liverpool riding their luck slightly, 8-goal difference on goals against is a lot. That's, let's say, is 8 goals 6 points
over this season or the
over the season so far? Like if they had a Pythagorean theorem, which they don't, like in baseball, where you can take someone's XG against and for and guess their record. Basically, Liverpool's points total is not in line with how they're playing. Is what I'm saying. Like they have a plus 57 goal differential, but their XG goal differential is plus 44, while City's is 52 goal difference and their XG is 48. So City usually are more in line with their XG, except when they have really bad seasons when they don't finish it off. Anyway, the point is that these teams are fucking close, really close. And I think the first thing to sort of touch on before we get into it, I just want to, should we talk about lineups? Should we do the scores and then get to the lineups?
Yeah.
Let's do the scores. This is the last game of the day.
And we'll come back. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. We will start with our friends. We will start with our friends also in Liverpool, also playing a team from Manchester. Everton 1, Manchester United 0. Ooh. This is the worst Manchester United team I've ever seen. They're fucking awful. They should have kept Moyes. Watford don't seize on the chances. They lose 3-0 to Lille. Jesse Marsch is a fucking legend, and Leeds are way far away. They're super safe. Southampton 0, Chelsea 6. Southampton have their biannual what the fuck just happened game where they just get the doors blown off them, and that happens. Then my beloved Brighton come back to earth and score goals for the first time ever, beating Arsenal at home. I believe Graham Potter has now beaten Arsenal 3 times at the Emirates. That's my guy. So Arsenal slipping at the wrong time. Then your mob withstand an onslaught against Aston Villa. This 4-0 scoreline is incredible. We talked about Sonny during the game, how I was like, he's the greatest finisher in the league. But Tottenham win 4-0. They're scoring 3 goals a game. They're not going to lose. Then the mighty Norwich City defeat Burnley. Hey. Cornet misses a sitter to bring them level and blow it. Then at the King Power, Leicester's revival continues. They defeat Palace 2-1. A team my team can't beat. No one can seem to beat, but Leicester can. Very weird. Brentford do the double against West Ham. Wowie wow. Ivan Toney, 15 goals. Put the bet on it. Maybe he'll get there. It's looking close. And then finally, as we're going to get to it, Manchester City 2, Liverpool 2. City went up in this game twice. Mm-hmm. Liverpool pegged them back twice. City were so fucking good. Yeah. It's upsetting to have this game be a draw, but the first half was just, I was like, how are we losing? How am I not winning? The first one was Alisson threw on, Raheem Sterling threw on goal from De Bruyne, and Alisson does his karate kick save, and you're like, of course, typical fucking Raheem Sterling, driving me goddamn insane. Then within a minute after that, Fabinho falls asleep for a second. City take the free kick early, get a lucky deflection. De Bruyne scores through Matip's legs, and it's on like Donkey Kong. I have my goal in the first 5 minutes. I'm feeling great.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
City are fucking them up, and they're doing great. Liverpool are trying to play out, and I think, and I'm not smart enough to know this stuff, but what I felt like and what I said when I saw the lineups, and let me now backtrack a little bit, seeing Sterling, Jesus, and Foden, I knew that City were going to press, and not let Liverpool play, especially with both. They had all their pressers in. Silva, Foden, Raheem. I knew they were going to go for speed and pressing and be like, you know what? We're not going to get beat because Liverpool have the ball. And they sat on Thiago, and he did not do shit. Between Fabinho and Thiago, they just couldn't play the ball. And when I knew Henderson was there, because they just had to have that Englishness in the side, he's not up for a game like this. He's not good enough.
No.
And so
I'd say he's the only player on both teams that you're like, you're out of place, buddy. And let's be clear.
But he's a legend at the same time, right?
Right. He has been in the past.
Yeah.
I think it's a shorter window than others, maybe, but he has been up for that game. He is a legacy play, if you will.
And those,
but also Spurs.
Right? Spurs. He connects Liverpool to Gerrard, who connects everything together. So he's an important player, and he plays on spirit mentality alone. He's just not good enough. But he's in the game.
Absolutely.
And City were able to really control this game, especially in the first half. If we go through the first few moments, it's the Raheem, then De Bruyne goal, then Jota's the next play on goal. Pull one back. It's a great play. I can't lie. Trent Alexander-Arnold, incredible. The classic fullback to fullback pass. Robertson across field into the corner, into Alexander-Arnold, who cuts it back. Somehow Jota's free. He puts it in. Of course, that makes sense. But then Jesus has another one. Rodri has another shot blocked.
Well, somewhere in here, you have the scare moment from Ederson.
That was amazing. I don't even know where that was.
So it was right around the 20th minute or so.
Yeah.
And for those that didn't see, who passes Diaz, I guess, passes it back
Diaz
to
wasn't playing, but yeah, Stones maybe.
Stones. I'm sorry, Stones passes it back to Ederson. And I think he was of two minds, right? And Jota is barreling down on him.
And he basically shanks his clearance into the ground.
Right. Well, no, he misses entirely. It's almost like he aborted the pass like 2/3 of the way through, and he goes,
it was
"Oh
amazing.
shit!" And the ball is casually rolling towards the goal
he's
line.
So chill. He's definitely smoking weed.
I mean, the tattoos didn't give it away.
Like the happy face on the neck, that really gave away the feeling. Would that have been the worst own goal ever?
Ever. Not close. Ever.
Yeah, it would have been bad. Yeah. But he was so chill, and his distribution was incredible. I think that was one of these moments where you saw Alisson's strengths in that he made really big saves, but he couldn't seem to kick the ball to Liverpool players. And City were just second balls. I mean, it was frantic. It was classic Bernardo Silva. He was playing deep in a double pivot, but he could run up and down. So he's there with Rodri in the buildup, so City have that protection. And he's all over people, as usual. Again, not passing the ball forward, not shooting, totally normal. De Bruyne running the show. They were kind of playing like this 4-4-1-1 where De Bruyne was able to look up, be where he wanted to be, and be like, where's Raheem? And he was just fucking running. Foden, I thought was quiet, but I know he was doing off the ball work. Like you kind of know he's doing his thing. He had a couple of really nice touches that were like flippity do, get out of trouble kind of moves, where you're just like, man, you filthy fucker. And he was doing that. The Jesus goal was really, really fucking good. Classic Alexander-Arnold. Now, here's the big debate that I have. I hammer on Alexander-Arnold as a bad defender. He's probably not a bad defender. The issue is that he's the weak defender of the team.
No, he's the bad defender, but like it's okay because he puts.
But I mean, is he bad? Service. Is he bad relative to other fullbacks, or is he bad? You know what I mean? Like, it's just because if you're going to attack Liverpool, it's going to be on his side. Because you're not going to attack Robertson. You're not going to, and it's.
Well, let me ask you this: take him off of Liverpool, then, right? Put him on Spurs. Put him on Leicester, right? He gets lit up. He gets lit the fuck up. He's not a good defender.
Yeah,
it's okay.
He's incredible at every other way.
Oh no, and nobody is under any illusion that like he's not one of the best free kick takers in the league. He's not one of the best, crossers of the ball.
Yeah,
but everything. Man marking, defending, not his.
Yeah, he doesn't pick up Jesus, and Jesus in classic Jesus fashion. I thought he was, along with De Bruyne, he may have been man of the match. In classic Jesus fashion, he never scores the goals you expect him to score, but because he's literally the worst XG goal scorer that City have over the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's like,
but he scores the amazing goals, like the ones that are 0.1. He's all over it. The ones that are half a goal, he misses.
He's the Che Adams of the top six.
Oh yes, he is the Che Adams of the top six. But he was really good, and there were like so many moments where you're just like, these are places that were City goals. I thought Cancelo did really well in his one-on-ones against Salah, and then the second half was more tight.
Well, it didn't start that way.
No. But in general, like what the goal comes because Kyle Walker just in classic Kyle Walker fashion is like, I'll catch up with him.
All right, and so where I picked this up, right? My flight takes off and I don't have Wi-Fi, so as we're climbing altitude, I see Jesus celebrating the goal, and then it kind of gets glotchy, and that's it. I got nothing. And so I went, good. I'm glad that somebody is winning at halftime, because then that means the whole second half is going to be just as frenetic as the first half.
There's no way.
But Liverpool ended that freneticness fucking 35 seconds into the second half. And so now you've got the tie game again, right? Where imagine if Jesus doesn't score, then it's a staring contest, right? And so that's basically what you ended up having.
Well, there was a big moment. There was a VAR Raheem Sterling finish that was brutal. That was again. It was a shoulder forward.
There was one Salah shot that I think
that he shot wide. That was
shot wide. That was
you would have felt like he would have scored.
No. It was off of Stones, and it was very clearly, even at regular speed.
Oh, right. They didn't call
that's
it.
A corner.
Yeah.
And he was incredulous, rightfully so. And I just think about VAR in general, and we're not going, don't worry, folks, we're not going to go into a full divulge.
I did this
I'm
already.
not going to let Laurent do it. But here's the thing.
I fucking hate it.
I don't understand why, like, you don't want more VAR in the game, right? No. But academically, for a second, why isn't that reviewable? Right?
Because it would go nuts.
No, but if the goal is precision, and I'm not saying they achieve it, if the goal is precision, why wouldn't you? Right? Like, I don't know. You and I are in agreement. I'm just devil's advocate here for a second because I'm like,
if I'm a Liverpool fan and I lost that game on the Raheem Sterling VAR check because Van Dijk's foot is another half an inch further back. Right. I would be fucking livid because they're the number one team on set pieces in the league. Yeah. Every set piece, they only had one.
Yeah.
And City did a really good job. I mean, I think one of the things is to really think about is like Liverpool are an all-time goal-scoring team. They're leading the league in goals. And City held them to 6 shots.
They have the top 3 in goals and assists, I think. I know Sonny's up there now, but
but to be fair, like Salah's really fallen off. Like I thought he might have a 35 goal season.
Yeah.
I think the AFCON, the Egypt, not the physical part, but mentally he might be in trouble.
So leading goal scorers, Salah with 20, Jota with 15 is third, and Mane with 13 is fourth. Sonny being second with 17 now. So
Sonny is number 1 in goals from open play.
I understand. That's fine.
That counts, man.
It does, but also these count. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 12 assists. Salah, 11. Robertson, 10 assists. So 3 of the top 4 goal scorers and the top 3 assist makers, right? So, I mean, I know that we don't look at individual stats nearly as much as we should. That's probably something else that the English don't do a good enough job of.
I think it's actually... It's good, but I don't think that it always tells the story. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Because
especially
City are right there, and like basically at 10, they have 5 guys with 10.
I know.
Yeah, it's a depth thing.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is, that is like with Kane and Son last year. Like, I don't think that was talked about enough. That incredible run that they were on. Similarly, Alexander-Arnold and what?
Because
no. Okay, fine, but all the more reason you should be talking about them then. all I'm saying is that the individual stats and the performances for what's effectively a weakling sport, right? We say it all the time.
Yeah, it's not in the history. It's not in their institutional history to focus on stats.
You know why? Because the Premier League's only 35 years old.
That's why. But they could go back. And I think the other reason is that, you have things like how does Jordan Henderson win Player of the Year? Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like he's the leader of the best team and he plays and he's the heart and soul.
It's not a popular.
It's a narrative thing, right? Where it's like, how has Kevin De Bruyne never won Player of the Year? You're just like, how does that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Because they don't do it that way. And I think that's fundamentally good.
I don't think it's bad. I just think it's interesting and different.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, it is interesting and different, right? And we're getting it more now. We are getting shots created per game. We are getting scoring. Like, guys are aware of that. You can count what Jack Grealish does, even though he's not scoring goals. Although he was sort of on the periphery of this game.
I don't know. And this is not necessarily a fair comparison at all. But I think of the Premier League and the top goal scorers, and they do all these weird things like the calendar year, and like Harry Kane had 40 goals in the calendar year one time. It's like, that doesn't mean fucking anything, and I love him, but like, that's ridiculous.
I know. They just slicing and dicing. It's just not in the cultural language of the game. But that's what I mean.
Right? Like I think the romanticism of baseball takes steroids and all that shit out of it from like the 60s and 70s. I think about Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle chasing Babe Ruth, and you have that, England. You have 100 years of history.
They don't have the stats though. Nobody has them.
They had fucking goals.
That's it. They just had goals.
That's all they need though, right?
Yeah, people talk about Dixie Dean. They know that he scored 60 goals in a year.
See, but they modernized it too much. And I think that they shuffled out a lot of even like the very early, like the Shearer, like, okay, It's actually something I think about largely in the generational divide. I think of it in the terms of, call it the pre and post Zuckerberg, right? Because after social media became really a thing, like when you think about the Yankees in the 90s, there wasn't a clip of every Jeter hit or Bernie Williams homer or whatever.
No, they were just the moments.
Right. So those moments live, but like there's often so much that's lost, whereas now everything is over documented and everything's oversaturated.
It's the reason why anyone even thinks for a second the idea that Maradona is better than Messi is fucking absurd.
Right, but it's because
he has 2 moments.
His jersey is about to sell for £5 million,
and he has
Sotheby's
2 frozen goals in that same 10-minute clip that he has over history. We have all goals that Messi has ever scored
since he was 12.
And like you look at Maradona's stats, you're like, well, he had a 20-goal season. Like how? I don't get it. Oh, but you don't know. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
But he did so much cocaine.
Yeah. And back to our game before we get into our digressive things that are amazing. I do want to wax about Kevin De Bruyne. He's going to be, or should be, the player I think will be most associated with this Pep run. He's the best player of the group. He did miss 1 season in it, but he is the best player of the group.
No, I think so. I'm just trying to think who else would even
have a Silva or Aguero.
It's Aguero.
Who else it could be
for me? Company.
Yeah, but they were from before, right? They're from 2010, right? They're from all the other teams. But this Pep group, I mean, De Bruyne was with Pellegrini, but it's either him. We know. So the first season of Pep was Stones.
What about Sterling?
Sterling was already there. I don't think so. I think Sterling's ascendancy happens because of Pep, because he recognizes what Sterling can do, which
is Fernandinho was there already.
Yeah. But I think it'll end up being De Bruyne. I don't know. There's so many different players. Fair. He's the best player of the group. And when he plays well, the team wins.
It totally depends on how long Pep is there. But I'll tell you who's the second most likely, Phil Foden.
Well, we'll see. He'll live after, right?
I think, but if Pep is there another 5-6 years, De Bruyne's not going to be there more than 4.
No, he's on. I think you'll start to see him fade.
I think having seen what we did at the Euros, I'm so happy as a neutral to see Kevin De Bruyne be able to have the season he was having, because it looked like we were watching the end of an era there.
Because he played with cortisone in his
City
ankle.
Thought it. Right. Yeah. City thought that because they bought Grealish. So
I don't think this narrative has come up yet, but this is the one I say when people go, "Oh, Grealish is bad." I'm like, well, he's not for this year. You spent $100 million for next year. Yeah, because when we try and replace De Bruyne, it's not going to exist. So we're going to make him before we need to make him. Anyway, so the game's incredible. I think from a season perspective, there's a couple more chances. The Mahrez chance, he hits the post. De Bruyne hits the post. There's De Bruyne hitting the post early in the second half. And then Mahrez hits the post on the free kick. And then at the end, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. But the pass from De Bruyne is incredible.
Oh, my God. That was the best pass he made all year. And I've got a fly that I'm dealing with.
These two teams are so good. Like, if a player that you know is good is on the ball, like Trent's on the ball in that little half space on the wing where he's 3/4 into the half. And you're like, someone close him down, because someone's running that I don't even see yet. Mm-hmm. He's just there, right? Or Salah just like, oh, please close him down. Oh, fuck, he's passing. And you're like, well, you're not supposed to pass, you fuck. I do want to give a lot of shout out to the City defense. I think, it's Stones and Laporte and Walker. And you're just like, these guys they're good, man. They fucking hang in there.
Yeah.
There's so many good players. I mean, Rodri is like this, just taking the Busquets mantle, and you just fire it into him, and he touches it, turns, and goes.
Yeah.
So it's just been so many good players. I think when you get to this level, almost every player on the team is really fucking good, right? Like, you can wax lyrical about every player. You can go, oh, Mane, oh, Diaz, oh,
of course,
oh, this guy, oh, that guy, where like, you think about lower teams and you think about, we'll talk about Villa and Spurs. You go, Tyrone Mings, can you just not play anymore? Or you're like, Ben Davies, huh? Still there? Can you just fuck off, please? But I mean, what does this mean for the title race? It means they both have to win all their games. It's in City's hands. We're as we were, but we got an incredible game.
It's in City's hands. I think that it's more. I would say that it's much more in City's hands given their run-in. We've talked about it a little bit before on the show, but West Ham and Wolves away are not easy games. Brighton at home could trip you up, sure. Those are the 3 tough games that City have left with 7 to play.
Yeah, and I think the other issue is City can have games where they don't score. That's the scary part.
Absolutely. Okay.
So the draw is what's in play.
Sure. But looking at Liverpool, they have Man United and Everton, who is a great segue. We'll talk about that in a second. And Everton may be downtrodden and are what they are at the moment, but that's
still going to fight to the end. They're not safe yet.
Fight that game. If their season, forget their implications of potentially going down. They've had such a miserable year, but if
beating Liverpool would make their season.
If they can draw Liverpool and cost them the title, happy days on that side of Merseyside. So
and then and then
Newcastle, Spurs.
That's a tough game. But it's at Anfield. You always play them well, right?
We play them tough. Tough. And Wolves, they also have Wolves. So I mean, look.
There's a lot of Wolves, Aston Villa. There's a lot of Birmingham in this thing.
Yeah.
Also, they play next weekend in the FA Cup semifinal.
And very possibly in the Champions League
semifinal.
So final, whatever.
Yeah, I can't fucking deal. No, we have Real Madrid or Chelsea.
Right, that's right. So that would be in the final. That would be hilarious.
I don't want to play Chelsea. Please, I'd rather lose to
Chelsea's
Real,
not gonna make it.
where you can go, we lost to Real. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's like a name brand. It's not like Chelsea and their fucking German Teutonic douchebag. So we move on to Everton.
Yes.
Last week we spoke a lot about Everton. We spoke a lot about Burnley. We covered the drop. We looked at Everton's schedule and we're like, they're never winning another fucking game again. Mm-hmm. And they're at home. They're playing Man United. And they have one player. Everton have one player, the young guy who's a homegrown boy whose name I'm forgetting off the second. I think he's one of these. He's one of Anthony the army Gordon. One of the army of 3 named people.
He's not. He's only got
Anthony
2.
Gordon. Excuse me. Yeah, there's another Calvert-Lewin or whatever. He scores the goal on a nice little play. It's well taken, and just United they're done.
Yeah,
they are cooked. I mean, we got in a lot of mileage out of Ole because I laughed at him all year. I thought, Rangnick, there was some level of bounce where they stopped losing, but they weren't winning, but they weren't playing well either. And now they're just done. Like, They're cooked. This team is bad.
Yeah. They
lost to fucking Everton in the relegation zone. They can't get up for this. The top 4 was there.
Mm-hmm.
There was no reason they shouldn't get it.
Absolutely.
And Ronaldo's on the team. Don't tell me it's not Ronaldo. What the fuck? I mean, it's an incredible. It's almost. It would be a bigger story if we hadn't been talking about it all year and they hadn't been this way all year. Just like, what the fuck is going on with this team? It's shocking. I think, and I don't think they're getting out of it. I don't think Ten Hag is the answer. In fact, if I'm Ten Hag, I don't take this job.
It feels like it's career cancer at this point.
Yeah, you're fucked.
What has to happen is someone has to come in. I know who the perfect guy would be for the job, by the way. And completely clean house. Have some uncomfortable conversations.
Culturally, but like in a big way, right?
No, culturally and financially. Be like, you know what? I don't even care what you're paying him. He's not going to even come near my team. He's not even allowed to train with them because I don't like the way he carries himself. That kind of shit. The way that, I don't know, Antonio Conte did to Tottenham.
Oh, right, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not a Man United manager.
I'll tell you what, if Ronaldo didn't score that goal, it would have been Ole's ass on the ground and not fucking Nuno, and then you would have had Conte. And you know what? They'd be 4th. They might be
They
third.
Would be. But it would have been – he would have thrown people under the bus because he would have gotten some of these bad performances.
You know what? It would have been Ali Frazier because you know who he would have thrown under the bus eventually. He would have came right after Cristiano. And everybody in the red side of Manchester would have clutched their pearls. But deep down, they would have known He's right.
Yeah, I think the thing that's interesting about Spurs with Conte is I think inside that Spurs team is that hardworking Pochettino team.
Yeah.
It's in there, right? When they would lose, it wasn't because they weren't working hard. It was just that guys would make mistakes, right? Like, or in late Pochettino, they were kind of out of gas. Like they just couldn't bring it again, right? They couldn't go again. Like, and then the Eriksson thing kind of dragged them down. Harry wasn't really ready to do more. I mean, by the way, I watched the Lyon game in the fucking in the Europa. Tanguy Ndombele is fucking incredible.
He's the best player.
Where is this person?
Let me be very clear. Every time I talk about this player, every single fucking time on the show, what do I say? I say he is the best player on the pitch, regardless of who else is on the pitch on either team. He is so phenomenally fucking talented, and he can't be bothered. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't fucking care. He doesn't try. And
maybe he just wants to be in France. You know, maybe
not
it's
even
just his thing.
No, not even, because before that performance, he was fucking milking it for 3 months and 2. Like, he doesn't give a shit, dude.
Oh, can you give me let's stop for a second before we go more into United. We have more on the rundown. We're all over the place, but this is fun. We'll talk about Arsenal. Spurs' greatest week ever. But can you talk to me about how you feel about the Spurs loan army that's everywhere? Lo Celso killing it in fucking Villarreal. We've got Juan Foyth anchoring the back at Villarreal, defeating Bayern Munich. Etienne Capoue, former Spurs.
Yeah,
they're
that's
all
the
out
third
there.
one. Thank you.
They're everywhere.
Gio Lo Celso, let me be clear, had a man of the match performance against Bayern Munich in the Champions League knockout stages.
Amazing.
In the quarterfinals.
He was incredible.
So I look, you know, he doesn't work in the Premier League, but at the same time, death taxes in Tottenham making a signing and then sending him on international duty in South America. And the dude just gets shanked, and his whole first fucking 6 months with the club is for shit. It happened to Romero. It happened to Lamela.
And then, of course, like we talked about, Ndombele really good for Lyon. Do you feel like it vindicates Levy? Like, oh, those were good signings. They just, something didn't work.
I'll tell you when we get something for him. If we're going to be able to get basically what we spent for him, great. Awesome. No harm, no foul. Now go pay Juventus for the rest of Kulusevski, please, and the rest of Bentancur.
Oh, those dudes.
And technically Romero is a loan. Right. It's kind of funny that, like, basically Daniel Levy, the way that he chooses to do business, and this goes back to Lo Celso as well, with any big
working the angles.
Big expenditure. No, well, sort of. But effectively what he is just like a fucking teenage girl with a credit card for the first time. Like, oh, I don't have to pay it all right now? No. You pay it later. Oh, when's later? Doesn't matter. Right? So that's what happens. Now, we're going to go into this window, and we've got Romero, we've got Kulusevski, we've got
really
Bentancur.
Need much. You need a one defender and a holder.
But the point is, we have to pay for all 3 of them now.
Yeah, it's all right.
Right?
But now it makes sense because you're good.
No, now it makes all the sense in the world. But what I'm saying is that I don't know if we have any extra other funds, or unless we're going to continue to do the credit card thing, which is fine. Which is fine.
Yeah.
But like, you're already 180 in the hole.
Yeah. So we talked about United. Let's talk about your greatest week ever. So United drop.
Yeah.
Do you want to go West Ham or Arsenal?
Oh, let's go with West Ham. Let's work up to Arsenal.
So
and the best part about West Ham is that my good friend and yours, Christian Eriksen, was the undoer of West Ham. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And now even Tony, we were talking about it just before we hit record, but Tony's been really off the mark. Oh, I don't think that's a coincidence that he got a proper number 10, and all of a sudden he's become one of the more prolific strikers in the league.
And that's a really good team.
Before. I think he's number 5 in goals now. So
underground underrated is that their holder Nordveld, one of the Danes. He's number 1 in tackles, number one in interceptions. He's basically like a giant white Conte now. And he just holds them down, and he does go box to box. So one of the things that I find interesting, and I think is something that can happen, like we have it with Wolves and we have it now with Brentford, these teams that are centered around a specific country's culture. Like with Wolves, it's very Portuguese, very connected. They bring guys through, they have a system. Sometimes it works, like Fabio didn't really work. But with with Brentford, it's very focused on Denmark, a name brand nation. They won a Euro, the Laudrup brothers. But that you can do that and mine that country's players and bring them into the Premier League and find guys who are good. Like, there's going to be some teams that says, like, you know what? We're doing all Swedes. We're just going to be like, we're going to go all the levels deep and find all the cool Swedes, because you need to find 3, right? Like, if you just like shake that country as hard as you can, you're just like, I found 3 fucking Swedes. They're awesome. And we bring our culture and we have the whole thing.
And none of them would look like Swedes.
Yeah.
You'd have Kulusevski, you'd have Isak, and you'd have Zlatan. I mean, he's a little old now, but like none of them look like Swedes at all. That's kind of interesting.
Kulusevski looks like a weird, like an Eastern European Jewish guy.
Yes,
right? The red hair.
Exactly
he feels very much like a Jewish hero, like the Hebrew Hammer. He's like this tall, handsome, chiseled redhead from Poland who's ready to smash Nazis.
Far more Polish than he does Swedish. He's a ginger from Sweden, as they say in the song.
He may be Polish.
I'm certain that he's not 100% Swedish. I'm positive of that. No. Okay,
he's some kind of refugee. So we have Brentford doing a double over West Ham. West Ham's doing Sunday, Thursday Europa League, but not rotating. Just being like, you'll play that game too.
Yeah,
they are fucking running those dudes into the ground. I don't know what David Moyes thinks is going to happen, but I've seen this before, and what happens is your team falls apart.
Yeah. Right at the important part of the season.
Yeah, so maybe they'll sell Rice, take that 150 and try and reload on the team around Souček. I mean, Rice is going to leave. If he doesn't leave now, when's he going to leave?
What I'll say is
he hasn't missed a minute.
Out of respect and solidarity, a rare solidarity moment from one Tottenham fan to hammers everywhere.
Uh-huh.
I hope Declan Rice stays for the next 10 years. And I hope that every spring, when you deal with, United are going to have to spend $200 million on Rice now, that you tell them to all shove it up their fucking ass and kick rocks.
That game? You don't like that game?
I've been dealing with it with Harry Kane since 2015, and I wish for Declan Rice to stay with you guys. I do, because you'll be irrelevant without him. But
yeah.
I don't wish what I've had on anyone, not even my third worst enemy.
Yeah. I understand the idea that your favorite player and your best player is leaving all the time. I'm sure that's what it was like with Gerrard in those mid 2000s era when he almost went to Chelsea, and he kind of was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna stay, be a legend forever.
Right.
So I wonder. I don't think he'll do that. He's not a West Ham fan, I think, is the issue, right? He's a Chelsea kid. Came up with Mason Mount. Does he want to go to Chelsea? Does Chelsea have room for him? Is Chelsea ever going to spend money again?
Are they
like
allowed
that?
to? Right. Yeah.
Maybe not ever. They're going to have American owners, so we'll definitely see a Super League sooner rather than later. But we don't know what's going to happen with them. But I was just trying to get the numbers. I mean, like the West Ham team, it's actually relatively old. You think they're young, but they're not. You think of Adam Cresswell, you're like, oh, he's young. He's 32. Ben Rama's in his mid-20s, but they're playing just out of control minutes. Like, let's put it this way. Fabianski has 2,790 minutes. How many do you think Declan Rice has? 2,700. He's missed one game, and he plays every minute. I get it. He's 23. You run him into the ground, but they have 4 guys over 2,300 minutes, and one of them is Craig Dawson, which is bad.
Not good.
So it's just an incredible amount that they're running this team into the ground, and it's not even with the Europa League. The Europa League's even worse. They're just playing. They just don't rest. Now, on one side, does that mean that they'll be fine and they're just like they're up for the battle, or that they'll run out of gas? They're clearly not going to make it to the top 4. They're going to try and win this Europa League. They're going in 1-1 with Lyon. I think, is it Lyon? Yeah, it is. And they have to face Tanguy and Ndombele, but he's not going to be able to go past fucking Souček. Not this time.
I mean, and then they're into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I mean,
they're eventually going to have to play Barca, which is just the idea of West Ham playing Barcelona is literally like it gives my hair on my arm stand up. It's fucking cool as fuck.
Well, that's the thing, is that this is what West Ham have, right?
Oh, and Bodo Glimt. Don't forget Bodo Glimt.
Bud.
That's right.
That's right. And with all love and apologies to our friends and listeners who are Bud fans, because we heard from you when we made fun of Roma for you guys kicking the shit out of them. So tip of the cap to you folks. We hear
by the
you.
way, they threw snowballs at Mourinho in the Arctic Circle when
you're legends. You're fucking legends.
Amazing. Now you want to manage. So this is what, by the way, I'm going to take a real segue. This is why I love Graham Potter. He was in the fucking Swedish league at fucking Alashar. I can't remember the team. And he won that league. It's like, he's a winner. It's the equivalent of taking Aberdeen content. When you're Ferguson and winning the league. He was a winner already. It's not like he's some schnook. The guy has won shit. So I would look at those guys at like Bodo Glimt and be like, can he move up? Can I get one of these? I would get one of these winning managers who take a team from nowhere and bring them up and win a league, or like break, because almost every league in Europe has these two teams, or one team in their league that just wins all the time. And once in a while, something happens. If you take that manager of that once in a while team and he's won more than one thing, you have a manager on your hands. To give him a shot. Why not fucking Blackburn or Fulham? Just grab that weirdo. What do you think? How do you think Graham Potter got to fucking Swansea? He was just some rando. Anyway, I'm going on a tirade about Graham Potter. That's right. Because I want Graham Potter to have a name brand job, and we can see how great he is with an actual striker, not named fucking give me the wipes Mopay.
So
speaking of which, give me the wipes Mopay. Then we talk about Arsenal playing Brighton.
Yeah, we can. And obviously, so Arsenal fans are losing their shit because the expected goals for this game, I'm trying to find it, were a lot to a little, 1.98 to 0.77. And obviously the game ends 2-1 to Brighton and not to Arsenal. Again, we've talked about it a lot on the show, but and pardon me for expecting Arsenal fans to understand nuance. That's not really their fucking thing. But 65% possession, you're down for what? When did they score? 28 minutes in. So 2/3 of the game, you're trailing, you're attacking, you're on the front foot. And this is what we said about Brighton for the majority of last year. Why are they such XG darlings? Well, they're losing a lot. They're on the front foot. So, and you're going to have the VAR complaints about the Martinelli goal. I'm washing my hands of this. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. You got to keep kicking on. It's 1-0 at that point. It's just, you got to be more resilient. I'm sorry. It's happened to Spurs. It's happened to City. It's happened to everybody.
The other issue is that, the midfield of Arsenal was depleted. They put Lukongo in there on his own with Odegaard and Smith Rowe. It doesn't really work. And Xhaka at left back, who ends up going into the midfield, and they just play a 3.
Yeah.
Against Mwepu, who was a weapon.
Yeah.
My guy Basuma, who you should have in your midfield, and then this Calcedo kid who Brighton bought 2 years ago and have been bringing him along. Those dudes were just like, not today. You're not getting that ball. Nothing's going to Lacazette. Everything's gonna come from the outside, and they just dominated them. And one of the things that happens with our guys in Brighton is they have moments, right? They do create chances, and when they take them, you're in trouble because they can defend. This is a good team that basically went on a we can't score drought. They scored 2 goals in 3 months.
Yep.
And then you got to be on the back end of Brighton coming back. Now, it's deceptive because they have the same amount of losses as Arsenal. They just have 13 draws.
No, I know.
So Brighton are actually a good team. It just they have Arsenal's number. And then I think the other thing is, it is still like a young team. I'm going to make my apologies for Arsenal.
I understand.
They're young. They can't sustain that run.
They take a big loss. They did, right? Yeah. Everything in this game says they were the better team. They should have won. Well, guess what? Has that ever happened to Manchester City before? Has that ever happened to Liverpool? Probably not to Liverpool, but has that ever happened to Tottenham? This shit happens, okay?
Yeah.
It's happened to Tottenham multiple times this season since Conte took over even. Yeah. And all you can do with your 3 big chances missed and your 20 shots is to walk away and go again. But and I have no doubt that Arsenal Football Club will be able to do that. But the fans fawning over expected goals and putting the points in the right column because of that. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, this shit happens to every good team, frankly. In fact, this is almost a compliment to Arsenal to say, yeah, they played the fucking balls off of them and they didn't win. That sucks. That's what happens sometimes, really.
Yeah.
You had 4 shots on target.
I think the issue for them is just like Lacazette doesn't score goals.
2. He has 2 goals from open play this year.
And Nketiah doesn't score goals.
Yeah.
And as much as they got a lot out of Martinelli and Smith Rowe and Saka, if you're counting on your wingers to score goals, sometimes you're not going to score goals. You need that moment. You need those strikers to chip in if they're connecting kind of guys. And I know every Arsenal fan knows this. This team just doesn't score enough goals right now. Aubameyang is still 3rd in shots on goal for the team, and he hasn't played in 4 months. Right? Like, that's just not going to get it done. And they just have to find a way to find someone on the team who's willing to shoot. Like, they don't have anyone shooting more than 3 times a game. And they don't play Pepe, who's the kind of irrational confidence guy. I just don't like he's another winger. They basically have 10 of the same guy who are all really good from the left and the right side. They've got Smith Rowe and Saka and Pepe and Martinelli. They should trade 2 of them to get one who plays hard to find these players. I think one of the things that's interesting that happens in football is there's a lot more identifying of talent and finding the good players, but they're all going to be really, you find that really good technical small little kid, and what do you end up with him? You stick him on the wing. Where's the big hulking striker kid? Where do they do with that kid? And especially if he's technical and can play, now they put him in the back, right? Because, I want to play out from the back. Where do you get a big striker to score goals now? He's not easy to find. You either have to take one of these wingers and be like, no, you're fucking staying here learn how to play with your back to goal, or hopefully they're small and then they have this moment where they have a weird growth spurt, which is why I think about my guy, Liam Delap, who's not playing. And I just think some smart team is going to grab him off City for $20 million and just be like, hey, look, it's 1995 all over again. And there's my Alan Shearer. Because or we'll try to, right? I'm just hoping it happens because seeing him play, he's like a shit Erling Haaland. And that's good, right?
It's good. It's still very, very good, right?
Yeah. Give me a shit Erling Haaland any day.
Here's hoping that team is not Arsenal, because I do think that they're a striker away. And they have a lot. One. They have a lot of glue on that team. You've really got to reinforce. You can't have Xhaka at left back. You probably shouldn't have Xhaka on the field.
They did lose half the.
I know. And these things
happen. And Tierney.
These things happen to good teams as well, right? I'm not going to cry for Arsenal.
The other one is
happened to Spurs.
I do wonder if guys like some of these Serie A strikers, like, does Tammy Abraham come back? Does someone go, we know he was good at Chelsea. Can we get him and bring him back into the Premier League? Can you cut rate grab someone like does Chelsea have a fire sale? Can you buy Lukaku off them for 60?
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't care. He doesn't care about Chelsea. Will he go to Arsenal?
Not anymore.
Right? Not anymore, right? They fucked him, right? I want to go back to Inter. Good luck. Can you get, I mean, it sounds like Mihalik is a done deal. He's at Juve. I get it. But like, can you grab some of these strikers that are out there in Europe that are scoring goals, that are out there? What does Daka year 2 look like when Vardy sort of like fades and they're just like, can he ever leave, or does he have to stay at Leicester till the end?
Yeah, he needs to get a paycheck till he's dead, basically, right? Like,
is he a lifer? But I do think about these things, or Brereton Diaz, or guys in the Championship. I just think that there's not enough of that. There's just this like desire to look elsewhere, and I think the players are there, especially like a team like Arsenal is so creative. You have Saka on the wing. You just need a guy who's in the box.
They have, ironically, a very similar problem as City. They're in a shit version of City, which, by the way, is also good. That's what Arteta is, right? But yeah, it's interesting. And as you look to their North London rivals, my friends at Tottenham Hotspur,
very good right now.
they're all right. Well, let's start with they and the Arsenal fan angle. We battered Brighton and we lost. Tottenham got battered by Aston Villa and they won 4-0. How does that compute, right? Well, first of all, Hugo Lloris stood on his absolute head in the first half.
There were
seven
some,
saves.
there were some shots.
7 saves in the first half. I think maybe even 8. But if you look at the going back to XG, Aston Villa's XG in the first half was 1.43. Okay.
I mean, you just have to go into FB Ref and just look at the first half. It's all.
Oh, it's 14-6 is the shot attempts. Okay, I looked. And so Spurs get the early goal from Son, and then they just capitulate. To be quite honest, and it was something we've seen a number of times from Tottenham. It just this time everything but for Villa. And Conte gets them into the locker room, rips them a right new asshole. And who's that man? Kulusevski, right off of halftime, 5 minutes in, takes a ball in and really has a tremendous finish. And now basically Villa goes back into their corner and effectively
they ran out of gas.
But a word about my friend Harry Kane.
That knock on with the look over to Son is fucking incredible.
So for those who haven't watched it, because you were watching,
it's so good. I can't take it.
From I believe Romero plays it
on the wing.
On the wing, plays it into the midfield, around the halfway line. Thank you to Kane, who while the ball is coming to him in the air, turns and looks to see vaguely where is Son. Now he does this often with the ball at his foot.
But it's a half a second and Son's running.
Yeah. The ball is at his foot often and he goes, right, you're over there. I'm going to put it in this area. Son's going to go get it and Son's going to score, right? That happens a lot. It's happened probably 15, 20 times over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
But this time, like you said, he just glances real quick and heads the ball into that area the same way he would do with his foot.
What's amazing about it is it's not even towards Son. It's the opposite. It's like a curved pass with his head.
It's like a through ball. Yeah.
Yes. But he flicks it on the other. The defender is on Son's side, and he flicks it the other side of the defender. It's incredible. It's just like he's next level playing, right? Like Harry Kane right now is just like every week. He's so fucking good right now.
He's so fucking good right now.
But here's the thing that I wonder about: is it 5 years with Son? Where are they symbiotic at this point?
Oh yeah.
Does it go together? Is it Yari Curry Gretzky? You know what I mean? Like that level of connection.
Yes, but nobody says that Yari Curry is one of the best players who ever lived, right? Like
he did score 75 goals like 3 years in a row.
I know, but what? Okay, when you were a goalie, right? What I'm saying is, you know what? I shouldn't even say that. Yari Curry is
Sonny Luke Robitaille.
Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you. Is Luke Robitaille, is Yari Curry that player without Wayne Gretzky? Of course not, right? They're really good, but they're not holy shit record setting, right? So, and that's kind of where Son and Kane kind of have ascended to, at least.
Or is he really just Bernie Nichols?
Right. Good shout out.
I remember when he was on NHL 93 and he had just come to the Rangers.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ooh, we got a 70 goal scorer."
No. But no, I think that that's a good comparison. However,
I can throw some other ones out there. John Ogrodnik. These guys are legends in my mind.
Man, we've going real deep cuts on NHL players for all of you
Jeff
Brits out there.
Boom, all legends. Yeah. Jan Eriksson. What a man.
Oh, and Tim Eriksson. We drafted his son too. Anyway, it's not important.
I love
is Kulusevski as valuable as Son in that role over 2 years? Maybe. Is Lucas potentially? Probably not. But like
no, because he can't finish. He's just another Gabriel Jesus, basically.
Sure.
Like run hard. You're like, amazing.
But the point I'm making is that Sonny is often the guy who is the beneficiary of that relationship far, far more than Kane is, I think.
Of Son. Agreed.
Yes. And so we were talking during the game and you were saying, that City should buy Son. And I don't agree with that. Not because I don't think Sonny's incredible, because that doesn't make any real sense for City. Because
he's a going forward, getting on the ball in space, not a tick tack.
Exactly.
Oh, there he is. Boom.
Yeah. City don't need a player like that because he won't really be of use to them when they're trying to break down Burnley or Southampton.
Let me tell you something. If he replaced Raheem Sterling, City would score 15 more goals a year.
Yes. No, that's undeniably true. Yes.
Like
absolutely. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Like
if Sonny was on that side instead of Sterling, it's probably 3 or 4-0 because they score that one and then bang, 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 bang. Yeah. Anytime Sterling.
Easy. Like I would trade Raheem Sterling for fucking Son any day,
Yeah,
twice a week.
I would
over
not.
And I would just.
I would not do that.
I mean, I like Raheem Sterling. He's good.
From my side of the trade, I of course would not do that. But yeah.
But can Sonny get by people?
Oh yeah. Oh, do you need to watch the Burnley goal where he runs through the literal entire team for 80 yards?
Speaking of Burnley, our friends in the relegation zone.
Yeah, let's touch on them real quick.
And yeah, we got only a few minutes left. The relegation battle is over.
Wow. We've said this a lot, and we've said this about the top 4 race a lot. Going back real quick, 3 weeks ago, Spurs were 6 points behind Arsenal. Now they're 3 ahead with a 10-goal differential, right? So Everton, I'm not willing to mark Everton safe yet, but it was a great win. They're
on the same amount of games, right? They're on the same amount of games.
And goal difference now.
And goal difference is exactly the same. They have a 4-point lead. Burnley have, let's see who they've got left. Burnley have West Ham, Southampton, Wolves, Watford. That Watford game's massive. Villa, your mob again. They have Villa again. They have Villa twice. And they have Newcastle. They don't have tough run. And I think we did Everton the other day, and Everton's was much more difficult. But one of those difficult games, they just won. Yeah. So that win against Man United is tremendous and huge. I don't think it's a surprise that I don't think Michael Keane played, but I'd have to check. I'm going to check right now. Let's see. Who's this team? No, that's Cristiano. Oh, he did play. Oh, boo.
Wow.
Oh, my narrative failed. He did play. But they have Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester again, Watford, Brent. Oof.
Yeah.
They're gonna have. They need one more. They need one more win. I think 31, and they're good.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm still not ready to count Burnley out just yet because we've seen so many twists and turns in the relegation.
But they lost to Norwich.
No, I understand, but all I'm saying is that they're so good at fighting for their lives that I can't count them out yet. I want to say goodbye to them, but I kind of want to be done with the relegation race, to be honest. But
they had that game tied up, and Maxwell Cornet, he missed, from 2 feet out. Mm-hmm. Like he just didn't get his foot around the ball.
Yeah,
and that was the guy that was supposed to change things up for them. I know they're kind of frustrated with the way Berghuis is done, but I think he's definitely opened up their offense. Like he's doing stuff, but just not scoring goals.
No, I know.
He's allowing shit to happen. I really like him. I think Berghuis is the type of guy like
Veghorst.
Veghorst. What am I calling him?
It doesn't matter.
This is a guy who's
it's a German World War II tank, probably.
Yeah. He's the T-34. That's Russian. Oh, whatever. It's a tiger. It's a pansy. I don't know what it is. This is a 20 goal scoring guy who, if he was Arsenal's striker, he would be literally the biggest player in the league. He was like, oh my God, he's the greatest. Right. I can't believe it.
Before we go,
yes,
quick rapid fire Champions League predictions. Bayern go take on Villarreal down 1
at home.
What do you got?
They're gonna beat them 3-1.
3-1. All right. Speaking of 3-1, Madrid up, going back to the Bernabeu on Chelsea.
They're not going to. They got the heart of a champion. Chelsea can't score.
I've got Madrid as well. Your beloved City against Atletico Madrid, up 1-0, going to the Wanda Metropolitano.
Oh, God. I'm scared of this game, honestly.
Yeah.
It's going to be another shit house.
Do you see a potential letdown from City from the weekend?
No. My team's relentless.
Okay.
They got a whole nother squad. They got a whole nother front three for this game. Basically, they're going to go, oh, okay, Gundogan in for Silva. They're going to go Grealish, Foden again. I think Foden. No, they'll go Grealish, Sterling, and Mahrez because that's you're sitting deep. This is our sitting deep crew. Oh, you want to go on a break? This is our break crew. So they'll just go. They've got a whole nother offense.
So they get through. They get through. And then Liverpool, Benfica, 3-1 up, going to Anfield. It's over. So, all right. So we've got Liverpool, we've got City, we've got Bayern, and we've got Real Madrid in the semifinal. We'll talk about that on Thursday.
Wait. Who? What's the bracket look like? Does that mean
it's Madrid and me? It's Real and City and Bayern and Liverpool.
Why do I have to play fucking Real after?
Well, would you rather play Bayern or Liverpool? At this point, it's really.
I never want to play Liverpool again.
I know you don't.
I would. Actually, no. I think, frankly, weirdly, Real are the weakest of the group, but they got the thing. They've got Benzema.
You know what?
Guys out of his mind.
And Modric. I don't know.
But
I would
City
rather
can
play
neutralize
Real
these old. There's no way they can't neutralize these old fucking players. I can't deal.
And that's how we'll leave you until Thursday. Laurent, let's get out of here.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network and also on FanHub. Thank you to all our UK listeners. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you are listening on Apple or any other podcast that allows you to do ratings, please rate and review the show. It makes a difference for all of us.
We got to go.
Bye.